In winter, waves make the cruelest of scenes. Across from the train window, Yoonhee watches as they rage nearby. She is traveling to Japan with a secret in her heart. Going back in time, we arrive on a snowy street in Japan, where a lady walks by a post office. Reluctantly, she turns back and slides it into a letterbox. It will soon be with Yoonhee. The letter needs only a little time to reach its destination, but it has no idea that the addressee won't be the first one to open it up. Instead of Yoonhee, the words are first read by her daughter, Se-bom. Her mother's secret history suddenly appears in front of the girl as she learns about Yoonhee's first love. She never knew about this, and furthermore, the letter is from a female. It troubles the young girl a lot. Irresistible worry governs her mind as her mother's secret past starts to elicit both curiosity and anxiety in her mind. Seeing her in school, we learn that she's in the final grade, one of the most turbulent and challenging stages of education. And naturally, this adds to her troubles even more. This is why her boyfriend's calmness amazes her. She envies his ability to remain untroubled by an uncertain future. As the secrets of her past are unveiled, Yoonhee is at a bus stop. There are no worries in the world, and no special feelings forcing the heart to beat faster. Life is ordinary and beautiful. Or it should be. Following her throughout the day, we notice a certain sadness in her eyes. There is no wonder that there is an invisible, heavy substance dragging her down from the inside. That night, upon returning home, she runs into a man who seems to be her ex-partner. The man is mildly drunk, and he tries to express warmth and care. The attention of the drunk, however, isn't exactly what Yoonhee needs at this moment. Neither does she want any supplements from this man. Supper is silent in the next scene. Only two people are visible around the table, but there is no question that another one is sitting in between, and its name is secret. The next morning, Se-bom visits her uncle at work. The man seems to be a photographer who develops films as well in his shop. Perhaps he is the one who influenced the young girl to pick up a camera and start shooting pictures of things that seem beautiful to her. This morning, Se-bom asks far too many questions about her mother. She needs to know more about the story that underlines the letter, but the man either doesn't know anything about it or is eager not to spill a single word. Se-bom's father, the one who visited last night, seems to be an officer by the name of Captain Park. To the girl, he must know something about Yoonhee's past too. After asking for the reason for their divorce, however, she receives a candy in place of meaningful information. Captain Park must truly be a master negotiator. Alongside his mastery, however, he seems to be a kind-hearted individual as well. As the father and the daughter speak, one lady in the corridor eyes them with special attention. It is not hard for Se-bom to understand that there is something going on between this woman and Captain Park. That night, the young girl decided to challenge her mother. Perhaps by upsetting her, emotions will force secrets to unfold. It is a risky business, however. Disagreements can cause more walls to be built between the mother and the daughter. In any case, despite the risks, Se-bom asks Yoonhee what the meaning of her life is. The response, of course, emphasizes that for a mother, the meaning of life is the daughter. It must be a pleasant thing to hear that you're someone else's central figure in life. But to the girl, Yoonhee's words aren't very believable. To challenge her mother even more, she points out that she will soon have to find another meaning. She's leaving for Seoul to study at the university, and she won't be visiting often. Being a master manipulator and a true incarnation of Emperor Palpatine, Se-bom also reveals to her mother that Park is dating someone else, which she should do. She wants to see the snow, so perhaps they should go over where it snows a lot. Japan, perhaps. There, she will have a chance to date somebody as well, and it will be a complete win-win situation. As a reminder, the letter Yoonhee was supposed to receive was from Japan. The next day, both the daughter and the mother feel particularly gloomy, and the sadness in Yoonhee's eyes grows even more after she notices a letter in her postbox. The person from whom it is must elicit strong emotions inside her heart. Both women fail to fall asleep that night, but Yoonhee seems particularly lonely. This is exactly the reason why Se-bom has been living with her. Even the sight of her mother used to make her think that she wouldn't manage to live on her own. But now, the young girl realizes that her attempt to fill up empty spaces in Yoonhee's heart was futile. She has only been a burden to her mother. Yoonhee doesn't go to work the next morning. Instead, she was handed out by a railway for some reason. Perhaps the letter she read will provide some insight into her decision not to go to work this morning. In the letter, Jun, Yoonhee's first love, is telling her about her father's sudden passing. The past lovers haven't seen each other in 20 years, so the fact that the letter's main subject is the demise of the father is a little unusual. As it turns out, Jun is now living in Otaru with her aunt Masako. It is all silent and eerie in this town, and both Masako and June love it here. The two get along very well in this town, where they fit perfectly. They love silence, snow, and the moon. And the writer of the letter is sure that Yoonhee will fit in with them as well. As June remembers, she would always write her a letter after seeing her in dreams. And this particular letter isn't an exception. As always while writing, she feels as if she's sharing her feelings for the first time. The excitement of first love hasn't simmered down in her heart, and the things she has always wanted to convey to her are piling up. The letter ends with her admitting that it was all her fault. As it turns out, June was the one leaving Yoonhee behind. She used to be her moon, and she lost her forever. The half moon is beautiful one night when June bonds with one of her clients. She seems to be a veterinarian, and the client seems to somehow be able to see through her facade. The girl's name is Ryoko, and she wants to grab a drink with Jun one day. The latter doesn't say no to this offer. Her cat is delighted to see her when she arrives back home. His purring almost causes an earthquake, but the expression of warmth continues only for a moment as always. The cat has nothing to do. This is all very usual, but what is unusual is the aunt asking for a warm embrace. The cute old lady wants a hug, and as unexpected and unusual as it is, June does as she is bid with a smile on her face. It's truly strange. Hugging her aunt, June realizes just how much she needs a hug. A knot is suddenly untied in her heart, and the desire to visit Korea appears in her mind. There, she will be able to see the school where she and Yoonhee used to study, and she will finally see how her mother is doing as well. In any case, it will definitely be a meaningful experience. It will surely open some wounds too, but let's not mention that at the moment. Getting back to the characters in Korea, Saebom is spending some time with her boyfriend at a lake while her mother is at work. Her troubles have been upsetting her so much lately that her boss now sees it clearly. Once the subject is addressed, Yoonhoo politely asks for some days off but receives a very harsh answer. Blaming her irresponsibleness, the boss lets her know that she won't be waiting for her if she takes some days off. This of course is a threat of firing her, and Yoonhee takes it accordingly. Taking off her robe, she quits before being fired. Walking back on foot, her face expresses the relief that comes after a part of a burden is taken off. With this, we return to the initial scene with the waves. Yoonhee and Saebom are traveling to Japan, where Snow and past lovers are waiting for them. The young girl is delighted to see Snow, but immediately after taking a stroll in the city of Otaru, she gets confused. Thankfully, her boyfriend has also come here. He calls her from a distance and leads her to his room. Together, they sit quietly in front of an electric heater. When they are conversing, we learn that the young boy has already visited June's guest house. It is obvious now that the girl and the boy are here for a secret mission to spy on June. As it appears, however, the boy doesn't know this yet. Emperor Palpatine must be at his best. That night, June asks her aunt about a letter that unexpectedly disappeared from her room. As Masako says, she went into her room to bring in some fresh clothes, but coughed at the sight of a letter. Quite strangely then, she cuts the conversation short angrily and goes about the rest of her night. If she is lying, she is doing a terrible job. That morning, another string of lies is created, as Yoonhee leaves their hotel room in secret. Standing in front of June's house in the next scene, she suddenly hears the lock turning and runs away to hide. She is not ready to reunite with Jun just yet. She just wanted to remember what it felt like to stand in front of her house. Tears are falling from her face as she returns to her daughter. She must be going through an extremely complicated experience. That afternoon, no secrets are shared between the mother and the daughter as they stroll around a ridge overlooking the city. Still, however, the urge to reveal something that has never been addressed yet seems to be very strong. Perhaps this is why they both decided to admit that they smoke occasionally. Saebom takes such a funny position in this case that even the strict Yoonhee fails not to smile. This will most likely create a memory that is both simple and extremely meaningful at the same time. That night, while wandering around the city, the two ladies noticed a man gazing at the sky. It is almost a full moon up there, a sign that fulfillment is close. A few minutes later, the mother and the daughter are taking a bath, and after being asked a question, Yoonhee admits that she had a relationship before she met Saebom's father. No more details are said about the secret, but as it seems, the truth has already started to reveal itself. The bond strengthens between Saebom and Yoonhee the next day as they start living in another hotel. It is, of course, no coincidence that Saebom's boyfriend is staying in this exact hotel as well. Here, more information about Yoonhee's past is shared, and the young girl realizes that she barely knows her mother. That night, some past stories were shared between June and Masako as well. The aunt tells June about the biggest love of her life. It has been more years than she can count since she last met him. But even now that she is approaching finality's gates, she still remembers his smell. It is a bittersweet moment, the remembrance of something that will never be repeated. This remembrance is both a gift and a source of painful realization. In the next scene, the fact that Yoon-hee and Sebom have finally regained their friendship is extremely obvious. Till now, the young girl used to believe that her mother didn't know anything about her life. But as it is now revealed to her, Yoon-hoo knows almost everything, including the fact that she has a boyfriend. The young girl is a little afraid. She seems to have failed to hide anything from her mother. Perhaps she knows the reason why she suggested visiting this town as well. As it is very soon revealed, Yoon-hee knows that as well. In this moment, as they build a snowman together, two individuals open up to each other as best friends would. It is truly a delight to watch them as they decide to hide things from each other. That night, as the daughter and the mother shoot missiles made of snow at each other, Jun and Masako try to shovel snow in front of their house. The old woman feels stuck in this moment. No matter how hard she tries, snow will still stack up over her trail. No matter the effort, there will always be things in life that nobody can control. The next morning, Masako hosts Sebom in her cafe. As it turns out, she already knows her thanks to Sebom's boyfriend. What she doesn't know, however, is the fact that the young girl's mother is friends with her niece. At this moment, Sebom asks the old lady to arrange a meeting for tomorrow morning. Maintaining a bright smile, she asks for coffee as well. Upon returning to her hotel together with her boyfriend, Sebom is coughed up by her mother. It is a thrilling, yet very funny situation. As Yoon-hee expresses surprise and astonishment, the young man hides behind Sebom's back and bends down in apologies, making continual pecking movements as if he were a bird. He says sorry for being so impolite, and leaves the side of the mother at a high pace. This is funny, only because of the contrast between Yoon-hee's attitude and the young man's answer. The mother hasn't acted harshly or aggressively. She was just a little surprised. Sebom is scared of her as well. It is only a few minutes after that her mother tells her to go out and have fun. They have been thinking a lot lately, and they both need to cool down. Sebom would love to go, but her intention isn't exactly to cool down. The girl is very mad at her boyfriend for running away like a coward. In the next scene, she confronts him about this, but very soon, a bigger problem emerges in their relationship. To be frank, it has always been there, while the young kids chose not to address it. The problem is that Sebom will be moving to Seoul for university, while the boy will stay in their town. This problem sure does cause a few misunderstandings and confusion. The boy thinks he should not fight to make her stay. This will only mean that he chooses to be a burden to her. Deep down, however, the girl might even wish him to do so. It is surprising for her how much confidence this young man has in their love. While her daughter cools down so delightfully, Yoon-hee buys a piece of jewelry and spends some time in a bar, speaking to a barman over the counter. Over the sound of mellow music, she spills only a part of her story. But in any case, it must be a good feeling to share at least some of it with a stranger. In the meantime, Jun is doing almost the same, with the exception that she is actually on a date. Ryoko seems to be a wonderful girl, but Jun doesn't appear to be ready to embrace her just yet. And so, engaged in one of the most confusing dates in the history of cinema, the girls fail to connect on a deeper level. There are too many secrets, too many hidden identities, and too little trust between fellow women. As the night progresses and Jun returns home, however, she appears in front of a person to whom she is close enough to open up. Masako shows her a picture of her, taken by Yoon-hee when they were still in school, and this simple bedtime conversation turns into an exciting, thought-breaking revelation. After Jun admits that she's been having dreams of Yoon-hee, her words take on a dreamy tone. Remembering the connection she once had brings bittersweet feelings, and it wraps her up in a warm, comfortable blanket. This blanket, however, is soon thrown away by Masako. She tells her about Sebom's visit, and thus amazes the hell out of her niece. The prospect of meeting her brings a smile to Jun's face. Night goes fast, and very soon, the time comes when the two women are staring at each other with all their smiles and delights. After a brief silence, Sebom starts uttering her first lies. Talking with a bright face, she says that her mother isn't in town. Till this moment she has been traveling with her friend, but there was a terrible argument, so now she's all alone. This is why she wants somebody to be with her on the last day of her trip. She is wondering if they could dine together this evening. What is not creepy at all is that Jun agrees. Emperor Palpatine must have used all her prowess this time. Coming outside, she calls her mother as well and tells her to meet each other this evening. It is already obvious that she is trying to reunite Jun and Yoon-hee at last. Thankfully, the master plan works flawlessly. In the next scene, the two women appear on the same plaza. They are both petrified and surprised by the sight of each other. Tears come to their eyes as they can't believe what is happening. No words are said as eyesight becomes the primary instrument for communication. To be frank, the feeling that they are trying to share at this moment cannot possibly fit into words. Eyes must truly be the best carriers for the immeasurable love that fills their hearts. Meanwhile, as this malicious stare-down continues, Sebum is spying on them from the corner of the street. After seeing the result of her actions, she walks away, and perhaps even wishes to experience the same exact thing someday. Perhaps this is why she kisses her boyfriend for the first time in only a few seconds. Standing in the snow, they are truly the cutest couple ever. It is their last night in Japan, and they are eager to use this time to make meaningful memories. In the next scene, it is already a full moon. Masako and Jun are walking up the hill towards their house as the aunt wishes the snow to fade for the millionth time. The bittersweet fact is that the moon never stays totally full. Very soon, Yoonhee and Sebum will return to Korea. It is strange, but Yoonhee seems to have completely changed. The heaviness that her eyes used to express seems to be completely gone. Now, her plan is to get a new job and leave this town with Sebum. In the past, decisions were made for her. It was her family's fault that she had to break up with Jun. As she remembers in the letter that she soon wrote to her love, her family freaked out completely after hearing that she fell in love with a girl. Back then, she didn't have any options, but having traveled to Japan, Yoonhee now realizes that there is nothing holding her back. She is free to do anything she wants. One night, upon arriving home, she sees her ex-husband again. The man seems to have something very important to discuss. At first, Yoonhee feels bitterness and resentment as always, but once an envelope is handed out to her, a sigh of relief comes out of her mouth. As it turns out, Park is soon going to be married, and he wants Yoonhee to come to the ceremony. The woman is extremely happy to hear this news. She wants him to be happy. The moment is delightful, but suddenly, something happens that comes in contrast to the attitude Yoonhee shows. Trying to look away, the man starts to hide his tears. It is a sorrow-breaking and powerful moment to see the vulnerable man surrendering to the feelings he cannot control. There must be a lot of thoughts going through his mind at this moment. Perhaps these are tears of regret, of mourning lost love, or perhaps of guilt. In any case, the two individuals standing in front of them in this scene are just now starting to take steps toward their happiness. In this regard, they are very much like each other. The time of shame, guilt, and punishment should be over now. The time now comes for Yoonhee to be courageous enough to rekindle the relationship with her lost love. And thanks to the experiences and realizations she went through, she will do exactly that.